Hello and welcome to My Dietitian Journey. I'm Felicia, owner and registered dietitian at Peraz Nutrition and My Dietitian Journey. Today I want to talk about Superbills and how I handle these in private practice as a dietitian. First, let's start with what a Superbill is. This is a detailed, itemized receipt that you give to a patient with service information. So a Superbill would be given to a patient if you are not a participating provider with their insurance company. So this means that you're out of network. Now, if you're out of network with an insurance company, services may not be covered by the patient's insurance. If a patient still wants to meet with you and receive services, they should call their insurance company to see if they have any out-of-network benefits. If a patient has out-of-network benefits, then they, not you as the provider, would submit to their insurance for reimbursement. Now, depending on the insurance and the out-of-network coverage, a patient may or may not be reimbursed all of what they paid out of pocket. Each insurance company has different guidelines for how to submit reimbursement for out-of-network services. It may be that the patient uploads the Superbill to their insurance portal, or they might have to mail in the Superbill. Again, the patient should really call their insurance company to determine what they need to do. Usually, a patient will need to submit the Superbill within either 90 days or for some insurances, they might have up to a year. Guidelines for Superbills and the submissions are going to vary by health insurance company and also state insurance laws. When providing a patient with a Superbill, there's specific information that you need to include. Your information as the provider, which means your business name, the rendering provider name, which could be you or another dietitian if you have multiple in your practice, the office address, phone number, fax number, the credentials, and also license number of the rendering provider. You're also going to need to include your NPI, both group and individual, if you have them both, and the EIN for tax purposes. The service rendered would also be on the Superbill with the date of service, the CPT code and description, the ICD-10 code and description, place of service, modifier, number of units billed, and the total charge. The out-of-pocket costs paid by the patient should also be included. For patient information, you will include their name, address, phone number, date of birth, and their insurance information. A Superbill is going to be provided to the patient after you see the patient, since you're going to need to include the specific service that you performed. For my patient flow, if I'm out of network with the insurance company, I let the patient know about the cost of the service. I send them a good faith estimate. They also receive an invoice, which is to be paid prior to the service being rendered, and then a Superbill would be sent after the session is completed. I send Superbills through the EMR that I use, which is Simple Practice. A patient can then download and print their Superbill or have the digital version to upload to their insurance company in the member portal. Here's an example of a Superbill template that you would maybe use for your practice. At the top right corner, you would indicate your business name and also include your business logo if you have one. You would add in your phone number and your fax. Under the provider information, you would indicate the business name, the provider name, so who rendered the service, also include their credentials. You would have in here the tax ID, the group NPI if you have one, individual NPI, and the license number if applicable. You would also want to indicate the address for the practice. Under the patient information, you would have their name, their date of birth, their phone number, address, and their insurance information. This template is for one date of service. However, you can also include multiple. If you have one date of service, you would specify that date, the ICD-10 code and description, the CPT code, which I have as the initial session for MNT, which would be 97802. The place of service would be 02 or 10 if this was telehealth, or if it was an office, this would be 11. Modifiers, so if you were doing telehealth, you would maybe utilize 95. The number of units, so if this was a 1 hour session, this would be 4. The cost per unit, and then you would have your final charges. You will also need to indicate how much the patient paid of the charges, so the insurance reimburses that amount. At the bottom, you would include your name and your signature along with the date. I hope that this was helpful in hearing about my approach to Superbills with a patient. If you're interested in purchasing the template, the link is in the description. Thanks so much for listening, and reach out if you have any questions.